I'm just mind blown at the fact that these ignorant people think that just because we receive food stamps that we don't work. I work full time and I do Uber Eats deliveries on my days off. I'm at work right now. Okay? We don't just sit around and stuff our faces and receive food stamps and buy garbage. That's not what we do. We get assistance because we need it, because these jobs are not paying us enough. It's just mind-boggling to me, the way that you guys view EBT recipients. You look at us like we're trash, like we're lazy. No, we work, bitch. We work. I'm at work right now. A lot of us work. We don't just sit around on the couch stuffing our face with donuts, bitch. It's just crazy how you guys think of us. Like we're beneath you or something. No, fix that shit. Because we're hardworking people too. And we take good care of our children.
I was just talking to somebody about the food stamp and WIC shortage cutoff happening in the month of November. And they looked over at me and they asked me, do you really want your tax dollars to go towards food for people that can't afford to eat? And I looked at them and I said, yeah, that's exactly what I want. I don't understand what is so entertaining, what is so funny for children, innocent children, not being able to eat this month. Not being able to have a Thanksgiving this month. What is so funny about a single mom who doesn't receive child support, who has to work 2-3 jobs to keep food on the table, and she just needs a little help each month to cover her for the full month, not being able to feed her kids this month? Women, mothers, and fathers are not eating just so their kids can eat. And I'm just really confused how we got to this point. How that is funny, how that is entertaining. People are literally laughing at the fact that the woman down the street with a 2-month-old can't get her infant child formula. Literally laughing. They think it's funny. And I'm just really confused.
Day 34 of a government shutdown. I don't even know how many of me getting up every single day and going to work like I'm supposed to, but I have no idea when I'm going to get a paycheck. Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm an American living in Germany, working as a DoD civilian, and we have no fucking clue when we're going to get paid. Now, technically, we're supposed to get a paycheck this week, but just in the brief little bit that I was on social media and regular news outlets trying to figure out what's happening today, because we're so much further ahead than the US in time zones. So before I go to bed, I wanted to say, hey, what's going on? It's not looking promising, and I don't know that there's going to be an end in sight to this thing any fucking time soon. So this will mean if we miss a paycheck this week, we will have missed 2 1/3 paychecks. Our paycheck on the 8th of October was missing 3 days. We did not get a paycheck on the 22nd, and we're supposed to get a paycheck this Thursday or Friday, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And I would love to tell you that the vibe in my building is we're holding on to hope and trying to do well, and that's far from the truth. People are getting really concerned, and they're not just concerned for themselves and what that looks like, and not having a paycheck. Of course they're concerned about that. They're also concerned about their families stateside that might be relying on resources that have been cut, like SNAP and WIC benefits. Although it did look like SNAP might get a little funding today. That was kind of hazy yet when I looked at it. Just the overall dread and concern is overwhelming. I will tell you though, the amount of German citizens that have reached out to me, either on comments or direct messages or food bank organizations have responded to me and said, what can we do to help our American neighbors, because nobody should have to go hungry. And that to me is a very stark contrast to what's happening in the United States. Here we are. We don't go here. We're not citizens here. but our German neighbors are trying to take care of us. Hopefully it comes to an end soon. Hopefully somebody decides that this needs to stop and it gets better. I got a feeling we're in it for the long haul, friends. I think this is going on for a long time more.
If you think that over 42 million people losing their nutritional services across this goddamn country is a good thing, or in fact is a Democrat problem, you're part of the problem, okay? I'm not going to argue either case because it would be like talking to this brick wall over here, but I will say that children, moms are going to go without food so that their children can eat. I've already seen it firsthand in my state where on my neighbors and friends, app, there are people asking if we can drop off canned foods to their apartment or where they're living. So it is going to affect people come another few days. So this is making America great again. This is what we've come to as a country, an elite country. We're going to let people go without food and be hungry. Okay. That is not Christian, by the way, for all the Christians that are, Trumpies. That is absolutely not Christian. That is not what Jesus would want us to do. Absolutely appalled. You are part of the problem if you are not part of the solution here. And I'm just in awe. I obviously all of the amazing people that are stocking up food pantries and helping their neighbors continue to do so, because this is going to be a major issue, because we can't get our shit together in the White House, because the Trump administration is burdening us with, these type of insane services that are being taken away. Insanely positive services that are being taken away. Hope you're sleeping good at night.
I just want to be clear here. These are the people who are relying on these benefits. This man had to wait in Clinton, Missouri, in a line of over almost 200 cars and people trying to get to the mobile food bank. Does he look like he's just not having a job? Does he look like he's retired? Does he look like he might be a veteran or disabled? This woman, who's 75 years old. This is the thing that people are not understanding. People on SNAP largely work. They largely work, or they are disabled, or they are elderly, or they are veterans. This isn't people who are trying to take advantage of the system. This is people trying to simply make ends meet. It should never, ever be this difficult for people to get food. In America, you should not have to jump through the hoops that we force people to jump through in order to afford food. If you actually talk to these people, most of them are working, but they still can't afford food. Walmart has one of the largest amounts of employees who are on SNAP. They're working. What does that say? That says that corporations are not paying employees enough to live. That's not a livable wage. Where they make such a low amount of money that all of it is stripped to go to mortgages, to go to rent, to go to cars, to go to phones, to go to insurance and other bills, that there is so little left over that they are reliant on SNAP benefits. I need people to understand that people receiving SNAP mostly work, or they are elderly, or they are disabled. They're not freeloaders.
Why don't SNAP recipients just get up and go get a job? Why are they waiting on the government to feed them and their kids? I'm tired of my tax dollars paying for SNAP recipients to eat. Food is not a necessity. It's a luxury. That's what I keep hearing you all say. But the gag is that 80% of SNAP recipients do work. They do work 9-to-5 jobs. Not only that, when your lazy ass doesn't want to go to Walmart and pick up your own fucking food, guess who has to pick it up for you? That lazy SNAP recipient mom that just got off a 9-to-5 job, or dad, and has to go on Spark and deliver your food for you for your convenience. Yes, that's who's delivering your food. Not only that, they're delivering your fast food too. When your lazy ass doesn't want to get up and go pick up your Taco Bell order or your Pizza Hut order or your Chipotle order, guess who's delivering it to you? That lazy ass SNAP recipient mom or that lazy ass SNAP recipient dad with their kids in tow. They're getting off their 9 to 5 to do DoorDash to make your life more convenient. They're going to work and then getting off work to go DoorDash to make your life convenient. Oh, let's say that you have a grandmother and you can't tend to her. So now she has to get Uber. They're Uber drivers too. Oh, wait a minute. Amazon. Amazon is also the SNAP recipient that's too lazy to get up and get a job. They're the ones that are delivering your fucking packages for Amazon. Do you see an Amazon truck out of south side of your house most of the time? No. You're going to see a regular ass person in regular ass clothes with a fucking Amazon vest on delivering your shit for your convenience. And nine times out of 10, they're SNAP recipients. They're the struggling majority. They're the ones that you're saying aren't hustling enough and they don't care about their own well-being, and we're tired of paying for their food. Why don't they just get out and get a job? Some of these people are working 2 to 3 side gigs in addition to a 9 to 5 job. And you'd rather your tax dollars go to Argentina, Israel, and Ukraine instead of going to the American people that are actually paying taxes.
I will agree that there are too many American people that are on SNAP benefits. But that means that you got to not look necessarily at SNAP. You got to look at the reasons that they're on SNAP. We know that over 1/4 of these people that are in receipt of SNAP benefits are actually the working poor in this country, right? We have not increased the minimum wage, and I don't know when, and the minimum wage still sits at $7 while everything else is going up, whether we're talking about the cost of food or whether we're talking about the cost of rent or whether we're talking about the cost to actually try to engage in home ownership, if we're talking about the interest rates. And we know that under the failed leadership of this administration, this country has seen a loss of 1 million jobs, and that's just in the first few months. He's not even had a full year. So no, we need to work on economic policies that will put people into a position in which they are not the working poor, where they are still needing the $6 a day to eat. So yes, we need to talk about it, but I don't think that SNAP is the problem. I think that that is the resolution, or at least that is a symptom of the problem. We have a bigger problem in which we have billionaires that are continuing to rise up every single day and are getting richer and richer, to the extent that there was talk about Elon becoming a trillionaire, the first one in this country.
I also want to point out the fact that I make $150 an hour. I see someone on SNAP benefits as my equal. We are in the same class. If you are someone that is a working class American that is talking shit on people that are going to lose their SNAP benefits on November 1st, you need to change your perspective. You have had billionaires, the 1%, these people who are literally about to become trillionaires if they aren't already in a matter of months. These people have literally convinced you to be against a homeless person or someone on SNAP benefits, someone that you are closer in income to than you would ever be close in income to the 1%. And if you think a billionaire as a president would protect his bottom line, I'm sorry, but you're mistaken. Health insurance premiums are going to double. I've already been paying over $600 a month for my private health insurance as someone that works for themselves. I have no pre-existing health conditions and I'm a single woman. I literally have nothing wrong with me, yet I'm paying almost $700 a month for my health insurance. And I have an upper hand here. I make 6 figures a year. I work part-time. I can afford this. I don't have student loan debt. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have children. When I say this, I'm not saying it for myself entirely, because obviously if we keep paying more and more over time, it will eventually affect me. I am saying this for the people that are already suffering. The people that are already suffering are on both sides of the aisle. I care about you. We care about you. I am willing to make amends. SNAP benefits expire on November 1st. How the heck are people going to feed themselves, especially when prices are already up, I think 5% in 2025 alone? You didn't get cheaper eggs. You didn't get cheaper milk. Everything is more expensive. This billionaire in the White House demolished the East Wing before our eyes. American history. This guy is in office to literally make the 1% richer and the bottom line poorer. Aaron Trump is 18 years old. 30 minutes before Trump made a tweet, he invested $50 million into crypto. Within 24 hours, he walked away with $200 million. And because crypto isn't regulated the same way the stock market is, it's not considered insider trading, even though that's literally what it is, but it's just not technically illegal. He is protecting Epstein himself and every other pedo on the planet that is guilty of being in these files. I just don't know what to say other than we have to come together. We have to stop the division. We have to be willing to work together because we are on the same side. It is not the GOP versus trans people. It's not teachers are turning your kids gay. They're not doing sexual changes at school. You know what they are doing? They're literally bankrupting Americans before our eyes. People who are freezing on the sides of the roads this winter are going to be the people that we could have protected. Government is going to be shut down for the rest of 2025. I'm calling it. And I'm not even trying to be alarmist here. I'm just trying to be realistic. Division is what makes moments in history have that turning point of no return. I know it's not the same thing, but something that my fiance taught me early on when we were dating was whenever we experienced some sort of barrier or problem between the two of us, or maybe like an external factor that then led us to then having some sort of heated conversation. I grew up in a household where it wasn't, hey, let's talk and resolve this problem. Let's be team players here. We're on the same team. My mom dealt with my dad. He was an alcoholic. So like that dynamic was not natural in our household. I never witnessed that. But something that my fiance taught me early on was like when we would argue, I would be on the opposing side. Like I would purposely remove myself from him and then be on the opposing side. Like, hey, we're going against each other. And he told me, hey, we need to be on the same team because if we're not on the same team here, we're not going to get to the outcome that we're looking for. And this stands true today. I don't care what you feel, what you think. If you call yourself a patriot, if you say you are willing to protect the Constitution, if you say you care about others, it is time to make amends.
If people want to be able to afford groceries, they should get a job. Okay, they're working full time. Now what? They should get a real job, not a teenager job. So let me get this right. You think if a teenager is working full time, they also don't deserve to be paid enough to afford groceries? Yes, because obviously every teenager who's ever had a job just does it for beer money. Yeah, certainly never because they're in a low income situation and have to pay for their own healthcare, college, just basic essentials. I'm just saying, people want to do nothing and get everything. And by everything, you mean food? Yes, they just have to work harder. So in your mind, people should work more and not corporations should pay people a living wage. That's right. Those CEOs worked really hard for all of that profit. And people on SNAP benefits can just have unlimited number of jobs? Yeah, or they should just save their SNAP benefits. I mean, everybody's complaining about not getting any benefits in November. They got them in October. What did they do with them? I would guess that they used them on food, Karen. Food.
As the president is fighting to withhold funding from SNAP, there's been a lot of talk about abuse and fraud in the system. So you'd be happy to know that the Government Accountability Office did do a review of SNAP recipients to determine who was getting those benefits and how they were being spent. And do you know what they found? About 70% of SNAP recipients are working. They're working, but wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. These are people who are doing everything you're asking them to do, but they still can't make ends meet. That is a policy failure, not a personal failure. So before you get on and saying, hey, we need to cut SNAP because of all this fraud and abuse, what kind of fraud and abuse is happening that a person working full-time in the world's richest country cannot put food on the table without help? That's the real fraud and abuse. But these people need help. And there's no reason for Trump to appeal to courts telling him that he has to release that emergency funding. He's fighting to not feed people. This is absurd.
SNAP is not going to be available in November, and people are celebrating that elderly people and children are going to go without food because someone that they once saw buy a steak with the SNAP card tells them that, they just don't deserve it. Well, chuckle fucks, here's the truth of the matter. The majority of people on SNAP are working people. Here's an example. Back in 2009, I was waiting on a job to open up in the exhaust cleaning industry that I was in for 13 years. And while I was waiting for my job to start, I had to temporarily accept work at Walmart, overnight stocking at one of their super centers. The very first night during orientation, we were told by Walmart staff that we had best apply for food stamps because they weren't going to be able to give us what we needed to survive. I didn't because I didn't need it. My ex-wife had a good job at the time, and the job I was waiting for was a high-paying job. So I knew I was only there temporarily. I wasn't going to need any SNAP assistance. But what does that tell you? That one of the world's largest corporations advises its workers to apply for SNAP and welfare benefits. You know, Walmart, the same corporation which our taxes subsidize, they actually double dip because they are getting our taxes to subsidize their business at the same time as their own employees are forced to rely on SNAP benefits, which they then turn around and spend at Walmart. SNAP it's an important program. You know, there are people that may abuse it. But for the small percentage of abuse that's out there, you know, we're really going to pull food stamps away from people that need them. That single mom who's working 2 jobs but still can't keep up isn't going to be able to feed her kids this month. My mother, who's on SSI and lives in a elderly subsidized building, my fiance and I and my older brother, we have to pool our money together for the next month so we can make sure that my mother can continue to eat. You know, there's going to be a lot of people starving. There's going to be people dying. The GOP has $6 billion in emergency funds already appropriated for the SNAP program that they are just refusing to release. The cruelty's the point. The cruelty's the point.
The amount of confidence some of y'all have while not knowing basic economics is honestly inspiring. Most SNAP recipients already have jobs. They're just underpaid. The problem isn't laziness. The problem is that we're still in an economy where full-time adults have to qualify for food stamps because these huge-ass corporations are paying poverty wages. If working automatically made you stable, half of this country wouldn't be on GoFundMe for medical bills. The same folks yelling, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, can't even afford boots without Klarna. Y'all are struggling just like the ones on SNAP, but you can't even look in the mirror. All his policies are affecting you. Yeah, y'all are on here lecturing to people talking about that's why you need to get a job. They have jobs. This economy is fucked. People who have degrees, they're struggling. I wish I would put more energy towards the people that are causing the problem, aka corporations and policies, instead of the people who are surviving the problem.
People frequently claim that immigrants and poor black families are living off the system. They're on welfare. They're mooching. But here is the truth. The majority of people on public assistance in the United States of America are white, and most of them have jobs. They just don't make enough money to survive without a little bit more because wages are low, rent is high, a lot of jobs don't come with benefits anymore. You can't have a job without a cell phone. You can't even find a job without the internet. But it's not poor people who are eating up the most dollars in public assistance. Nope, it's the middle class. It's people who can take mortgage deductions. And, of course, corporations cashing in on subsidies. But nobody calls that a handout. SNAP, Medicaid, housing assistance, those aren't loopholes to help billionaires save some more money and line their pockets so that they can get more yachts or whatever they do with it. They're lifelines for millions of people. And here's the kicker. Those programs keep all of us safer and more stable. If you're mad that someone's getting help, maybe just look at why they need it, not just who they are. Think about this. A friend of mine said he grew up in a third world country, and he said that in those countries, petty theft and, pickpocketing and crimes like that are common because people have to do that to get enough money to buy food and to pay for a place to stay. That's going to happen in our country if we don't get curious about where the waste in our government really exists.
One of the things that we often hear about SNAP recipients is that they need to get a job. And so a lot of SNAP recipients have come out and have disclosed that they do work full-time jobs. Some of them work multiple jobs. They just do not make enough, and so they have to do other things to supplement their income. And at this point, I think we need to look at how is everybody working full-time and nobody is making enough to survive. That is how expensive it is to make it. I will be honest with you guys. I had no idea that this many Americans were receiving SNAP benefits until all this happened and I started doing a lot of research. I had no idea that everyone needed help. If everyone needs help, then we need to look at the system that is created. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Check out these videos. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, share, and join the channel as well. Foodie gang gang gang. Foodie gang gang gang.